Everybody. My name is Graham Parker, and I'm CEO and co-founder at Kontainers. So Kontainers is an enterprise SaaS company, and we work with freight brands, helping them to deliver an own branded and customizable execution layer. Um, we consider ourselves as the customer experience brand. Um, and effectively it's empowering companies to unify their experience across every part of their commerce channels. Our team comes from a mixture of the freight industry. So I founded my first freight forwarding company when I was 22. Um, did a Grew it to around $20 million, and then a lot of the rest of the team in Containers are from a technology background. My co-founder was a Cambridge-educated computer scientist. He was part of the team that remapped the human genome, so about 100 times smarter than me. Um, our customers really like what we do, so here's some quotes from Maersk, the world's biggest shipping line, talking about how we help them to accelerate their digital transformation, as well as a top 20 global freight forwarder called Toll Group. And what we see is that the industry has actually reached a tipping point. Working primarily with freight forwarders and steamship lines, every top 25 freight forwarders is now building or buying their own customer-facing software. So what does that actually mean? So if you look at a lot of the top freight forwarders in the world, if you want to go to their website, go and get a price, make a booking, and manage all your shipments online, you actually can't do that in 99% of the cases, even as we sit here today. And what we believe actually is in 2019, client-facing execution platforms have moved along, as has modern SaaS tools. So it's real-time price discovery on any internet-enabled device, dashboard overview and detailed analytics. And this is something that's a given in lots of other industries and lots of other verticals within supply chain, but actually in freight forwarding, it's still relatively early and it's not really available. And that's what Containers do. So effectively, digital transformation, everyone in the room knows it's happening. It's happening at a significant pace. Every company is transforming, and freight is no different. Really interesting. We're big fans of Salesforce. We became a partner last week, and a company that has revenue of $15-16 billion a year grew by 24% in the last quarter, and it just really shows the real pace of digitization. They compared it to the level of activity that was seen in Y2K, and again, freight is no different. And really, where Containers comes in is the customer experience. For us, digital transformation starts and ends with the customer experience. And in freight forwarding, like I mentioned, it's at the moment phone call and email heavy. So a lot of the time, a company or somebody wants to ship something with a freight forwarder, there's phone calls and emails involved. There's multiple phone calls involved. There's no one single source of truth. There's no one online digital platform. The future of freight technology is also really interesting. So a lot of the spend that freight forwarders have up to now on software has tended to be back office solutions. So there's actually, this figure is outdated. They're now an $8 billion public company called WiseTech. They're very much the market leaders, and they've delivered back office software. They're the number one player. But actually what we believe is that this new genre of software, customer-facing solutions, is going to become more and more important. If you fast forward 3 years, every freight forwarder will need to have this capability. And when they have that capability, it will mean that the platforms will be talking to each other via API. Bookings can be done in one click, and it will cut down a lot of the manual back office requirements. So of course, back office will still be an important part of software, but we don't think it will be the biggest part. A BCG report from last year talked about entering a golden age of freight technology. There's a lot of money being raised in the industry right now, but actually it's still quite early. I gave a talk on Tuesday in the Netherlands, and I used a slide, the fintech ecosystem in the Netherlands versus what was the freight tech ecosystem a couple of months ago in the freight tech. So I guess if you fast forward 3 years, there's a lot of companies that haven't even been founded or still being worked on that are not mainstream yet. So it's still quite early. It's an evolving landscape, but the reason we've crossed the point of no return on freight technology software is that the market makers are all in already. So Maersk are the world's number one ocean carrier. They move almost a fifth of the world's containers. Kuehne+Nagel are the world's biggest freight forwarder. They've had around a dozen technology platform releases in the last year. Alibaba have put 7 billion into logistics, some of which we see going into the first mile and ocean freight, as well as the traditional package business. And Amazon are now a licensed freight forwarder and aggressively growing their business. So for us at Kontainers, it's about giving these freight brands a digital presence, so their own branded, customized solution, but allowing them to bring their customers into a pure digital transaction, from price discovery on any internet-enabled device to one-click rebooking to a series of dashboards, back office analytics, customs, right through the process. And you know, we hear a lot about disruptors all the time, but actually Kontainers is enabler. And why? The reason is that freight, as we all know, and supply chains are incredibly complex. And we believe that freight forwarders are going to win for the 3 reasons here. They have a client base, thousands of clients that literally cost 8 or 9 figures to actually acquire these customers. And we've seen this recently with some of the new digital forwarders. They have a global network, so if you want to put boots on the ground in 190 countries, that's super costly and a long time to do it. And deep industry knowledge. There's not a lot of people have the deep freight forwarding experience, and freight forwarders have all of these 3, and they've built them up over years or decades. So by augmenting technology, we think that they'll win because it's a faster process than some of the digital companies that have to acquire all 3. As an enterprise SaaS company, we've built our product to be an ultra-modern system. So with some of our big customers, they tend to use it like a core platform, and they can actually use their development dollars to build their own features on top. It's a multi-tenanted system, so everybody can have their own solutions and features. Kontainers was 5 years old last week, so we spent the first 2.5 years building out truly enterprise-grade architecture, which is really helping us to win a lot of big deals now. We've got some interesting competitive advantages, and we have what we think is a unique inverted model. So our flagship product, Enterprise, was launched in 2017, and we started serving the top 25 shipping brands. We've now got 25% of those companies already using our software in multi-year deals, and we've got about another 25% considering us at board level. Our current product offering is called Edge. It's a middle-tier product for the medium-sized freight brands. And our final product, Kontainers Essentials, is going to go live at the end of the year. It's effectively Squarespace for freight forwarders. So freight forwarders that are maybe 2 to 99 people can upload their logo, pick a color scheme, and be digital in 90 seconds. And we'll truly democratize this customer-facing layer. When we talk to our customers, we talk a lot about ROI. There are still a lot of freight software opportunities for freight brands. So our product, our biggest competitor is actually in-house building, because our biggest product is Enterprise, our enterprise product. And we look at buy versus build, and the costs speak for themselves. And also in terms of return on investment, our customers see a 50% reduction in operation touch points. So the slide earlier looked at how many phone calls and emails are saved on each booking. Part of the digital price discovery means about at least 60% less sales effort on quotes, so sales teams can concentrate more on closing business, and an increase in bookings because of the user interface. We've seen an average of quote to booking ratio go to above 20%, which a lot of even our big customers haven't seen. So we've seen a lot of, one of the other reasons we also feel the industry is moving on quite a lot. Our own pipeline progression has changed dramatically this year. So we brought our sales process down from 18 months to 9 months, and our pipeline continues to grow. And you know, we also believe as the ecosystem grows, there's an incredible opportunity for many more SaaS companies to come in and serve freight forwarders. What we see every day is, you know, a lot of companies deploying these services by just going to their website and entering a credit card, and they've got access to a product. It's not that easy for freight forwarders in freight technology products yet. I think a lot of the products aren't quite SaaS and immediately deployed yet, and I think it will be very interesting to see the next generation of companies that are going to deliver these amazing products and Kontainers among them. So apologies for the moving instead of clicking, everybody, but thank you very much. That's
Hi. Do forwarders put their own data, or you're connected to large shippers or consolidators?
Yeah, so we're connected to most of the top 10 carriers. We have 52 active APIs, and we're also connected to 2 of the top 3 consolidators, so we can plug in a lot of the data automatically. And we also have an EDI hub to connect up older TMS and ERP systems.
And so the prices that the client gets on your platform, the freight forwarder can actually put a different price from the one that it's provided by the carriers?
Yeah, so the Kontainers USP is always own branded customizable solution. So if you're forwarder A, it'll be your branded solution. So it's always your rate. So our customers have full autonomy to buy and sell as they want. We just facilitate the rates.
Thank you.
We got a question here, and then we'll jump back over here. And then over. Is there still one on this end? Yeah.
Not a question, but a comment, and for everybody in the room. My company provides shipment visibility solutions, runs alongside in parallel to what you do. You mentioned, taking the phone calls out of the process, enabling everybody to do it online. It was mentioned earlier how much people enjoy talking with their business relationships, et cetera. So our personal experience on adoption was we put wonderful tools in place, and some of the users said, but I miss talking to the carrier. So we said, well, you can still call the carrier. You just change the dialogue now. Instead of saying, where is my shipment? You say, why is it late, and what are you doing about it? So you're probably experiencing much the same.
Yes, to an extent. But having said that, I think actually people are so busy now. If you're a BCO shipper using these freight forwarding platforms, you're so busy you don't necessarily have as much time as you used to. We'll do around 1 million ocean freight bookings this year, so we would be one of the biggest platforms in the world now. So we have a significant amount of data, and we see that, for example, 51% of customers are making choices that are not based purely on price. And we brought in a chat tool and a collaboration tool within the platform, and it was amazing how it increases quote to booking ratio, which leads us to believe that actually the shippers are, of course, there's always a need where technology falls down. There's a truck late, and technology can't solve that problem because there might be GPS in that truck. Someone has to pick up the phone. That's why we talk about 60% reduction on touch points, not 100. And yeah, there's absolutely the relationship element. But it's actually really surprising when you look at, when the BCOs are making the bookings, they are interested in just, getting the job done. And yeah, absolutely, they'll want to have a conversation, but not necessarily, multiple ones per shipment. So I would agree.
Thank you. Here and then.
How much do you charge for a branded solution on your platform? Question one is, and how much deviation do you have between the various branded forms? I mean, you got Docker and Kubernetes, of course. Where do things go apart?
Sure. So we've got 2 products in the market. The one that people like Maersk and Toll buy is our flagship product called Enterprise. We think it's super cheap. Some people don't. It's $250,000 to deliver a branded solution, and then a SaaS monthly subscription of $25,000 a month. But every one of those licenses we've sold, it's been 100% at that price. We've given 0 reductions. Our Edge product, to be very honest, we're still working on a pricing model. We've got about 15 customers in 6 countries, and we've experimented with different pricing. The third product that we mentioned, the mass market product that we're moving, will be a pure SaaS product. But we see us serving very different ends of the market. I think on the enterprise side, it takes us 12 weeks to go live, and we put a team of global program people into these headquarters, and it's very involved, right down to the transactional stuff that the smaller freight forwarders want. So we're trying to basically kind of come up with solutions that serve the entire market based on what the customers need.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
1 million bookings, that's impressive. So can you say a little bit more about what Maersk is doing with your platform?
So Maersk was actually one of our first customers back in 2017. Actually, it's funny. I was talking recently to our contacts in Maersk, and when they signed a contract with us in 2017, we committed to getting a platform live in 12 weeks for them in China. And they said they didn't know whether to sign a contract or sign us into a psych ward. Their average time go live before that was probably a year or two. So we built, initially we built a platform for them called Ship.Maersk Line. And we've worked closely with them since on other projects as well. So effectively, if you look at Ship.Maersk Line, it went live in China in late 2017, and it was a tool that sat alongside my Maersk Line, and it served small and medium customers. And we rolled out significant functionality. Like we did 32 releases last year. So we did stuff like deposit payments, instant booking confirmations, a lot of features that would allow them to test different features very quickly, and then decide whether they would roll it out within the entire group.
Hi. So having worked in the seaport industry, I saw that a really big pain point that smaller freight forwarders, you talked earlier about the freight forwarders are possibly 1 to 3 people. One of the biggest issues that they had was filling entire containers. And so I'm curious just what, are there any ideas in the pipeline outside of, you talked about container essentials, to kind of help those smaller freight forwarders leverage some of the expertise and technology that you're providing to the bigger freight forwarders?
Yeah, absolutely.
To do that.
So we're really excited about Containers Essentials because like I mentioned, effectively, if you're a 6-person freight forwarder somewhere, you'll be able to upload your logo, pick a color scheme, enter your rates in the back office, and you're a digital forwarder in 90 seconds. And effectively, that it allows them, it democratizes the software, but allows them to compete with a new brand of well-funded digital startups. And I think effectively what we say to the freight forwarders a lot is that embracing digital it can be scary, but actually it creates a whole bunch of opportunities. One of the biggest... Don't know if that's for me or not. I'll continue till someone rugby tackles me off the stage. So what we see is actually, to answer your question on the LCL, actually having these platforms, be it Containers or anyone else, it actually opens up a whole new... So freight rates, as an example, are under constant pressure. The days of adding on arbitrage are almost coming to an end. But when you have technology platforms like Containers or anyone else, you have an API and you can plug in trade finance and get brand new revenue streams from existing customers. And on the LCL, we're working on, with one of the top 3 global consolidators, a way to actually understand how you can utilize containers better. And basically having these core platforms will allow the best of breed freight forwarders to really thrive in the next decade.
Another question. Over here, yeah.
I think in one of your slides, you mentioned about the back office and how the WiseTech has a large portion of that. I mean, what exactly is Containers doing to kind of, is WiseTech actually being replaced by Containers, or are you talking of removing some of those back office operations into Containers platform?
Sure. So we see Containers as a new genre of freight software, customer-facing, front-facing, whereas products like WiseTech are primarily, not exclusively, back office and back-facing. And most of the customers that we have, we don't replace CargoWise or WiseTech, by the way. We plug seamlessly into it. And our goal is to give these freight forwarders a very modern customer execution capability, but we don't replace the back office. One of the slides we do talk about is where we think traditional back office tools will actually shrink, but who's to say that it doesn't get increased with other features like analytics. But we are a customer-facing layer that's complementary to any existing system, be it an ERP, TMS, finance, analytics, any of those tools.
All right, we got time for one more, and then we got to go to the last one. So, way back.
Hi. You mentioned that you have many APIs with many different carriers. Do you offer also live tracking on the platform?
Yes, we do. So around 4 of the APIs are tracking focused. So the dashboards that the customers get are map-based views. So they get to log in, and we have a number of AIS integrations, so they get to see the vessel move in real time. And then where there's APIs to their truckers, we can also bring in the real-time movement of the trucking. But I think real-time visibility is something we spend a lot of time working on. And I think actually the move of the industry going from EDI to API is a big part of that.